Good afternoon, I'm Gareth Morris, Westie runner, and I'm here with Dr. Katie Wright. Katie, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Excited to be here finally.
A little bit of a trip up from Wanaka?
Yeah, always, but made it, so made it out through the wind, which is always good to do.
Some pretty spicy takeoffs and landings from the South Island, in Queenstown
Yeah.
in particular in the past.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. We've actually moved in from the shade because out there it's actually really hot out in the sun, and so we've come under the trees to get a little bit of a shade and have a conversation about your race this year.
Exciting.
Now, for the people who watch my channel who may not have come across you before, one of the things you first did when you were starting out in running was you ran around Wales, which I think is quite personal to me. I think that's a fantastic thing because I don't sound very Welsh, but I am Welsh. What was it that led you to try something quite as big and scary as that?
The actual original reason was I trained and was probably in the best shape of my life earlier in the year for a marathon, and had my hopes and dreams set on running a 3:30 marathon. Had a really good build and then had just the worst race and pulled a calf muscle halfway around.
Yeah.
So I was incredibly disappointed and was like, I need to do something else with this fitness. And for one reason or another, running around Wales seemed like a good thing to do instead.
Why not? Why not?
Why not?
That's fantastic. And so you'd already had a bit of a background in running, but you'd done triathlon and a few other sports as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'd done a couple of Ironmans and a couple of marathons, but and found trail running.
And then found trail running, and the rest, as they say, is history currently still being made at the moment. It is really interesting when I've spoken to Dan Jones already, who had a history of running, but then did multi-sport, and then Sam Harvey, and a lot of other people as well. They've tried so many sports in their youth before they've come to running, so it seems to be a really common trend among particularly serious runners.
Yeah, I think particularly in trail running as well, it's something that has been growing so much in recent years that it's just not necessarily something people did 10, 20 years ago, nearly as much as we do today. So
Yeah. How you find running in and around Wanaka?
Oh, it's just stunning. We're spoilt for choice around the area, particularly with hills and things. So actually running is a little bit more difficult because there's too many mountains around that you want to go up. So training for a running race is actually more difficult down there because you're tempted too much to just go up a big hill. But
Now,
cool.
you've got to do some quite interesting events over the years. So you were notable here in New Zealand because you were the first woman, in fact, anywhere in the world to win a backyard ultra. And then you got to go and compete at Big's Backyard Ultra in Tennessee, which I remember following on social media. That seemed like a real experience. What was it like to go there and run with those guys?
Yeah, it was just incredible. Definitely an interesting entrance into trail running and ultra running. It was amazing, and I think I got in the first couple of years that it really started to explode. So lucky to get in when I did.
The kind of numbers they're talking about in now is the world record's 109 laps, which is, I remember at the satellite event when I was talking to you and Fiona as well, saying, well, what's reasonable? People kind of had mentioned that as a potential goal, but that's really just an incredible.
It's
so
ridiculous number, isn't it?
The number you've got to run now, just even to get anywhere near the potential start list is quite incredible. You also have had a trip to a certain other race down in Tennessee that we probably can't talk a lot about in detail, but what's that experience like, even if you can't talk about the details of the race itself? What's the experience getting to do the Barkley Marathons?
Oh, again, just it's one of those things that you don't think is actually ever going to happen, and you turn up and then you realise it's a cool running race. Just like if you go and do Northburn or go and do any small event where there's only a few people, it's a really cool experience to be able to go out and do something really different with a group of people that are all incredible at what they do and just really interesting human beings. So, it was fab.
And in terms of that, we do occasionally see some armchair people on YouTube comment saying, oh, it can't be that hard. Is it really that hard?
It's really that hard, yeah.
Yes.
It's there's a reason it has its reputation. Like, it's definitely very hard.
I have spoken to one other person and they've gone, imagine how hard you think it's going to be. It's harder than that, you know. How hard can it be? Very hard.
Exactly.
Which kind of brings us on to an interesting one, because you're back at Tarawera. Of course, you've been a former Tarawera champion. You were third last year. You've got quite a record here. Now you're coming back, and you would normally do the miler because you're really renowned for doing really tough, really hard, really hilly things. You're coming back to do the 102k.
Yeah, which to me is the really hard, really difficult, really scary fast race. So yeah, I've never really classed myself as a fast runner or really a runner at all. I like hiking in the hills. So part of my lead up to UTMB hopefully this year is to actually get a bit more speed on the legs and try and find some running legs for those sections that are actually runnable. And part of that has been using this time much earlier on in the year to get a little bit of speed, work on my run technique, and hopefully run a slightly faster 100k.
Yeah, you had a very good race at UTMB. You were in the top 20, if I remember correctly. Fantastic result.
Yeah, I was thrilled. It was, for the first attempt out there, I think just managing to get around the course is a huge achievement. So I was, really happy to get around in one piece and break into the top 20.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting though. The trails are in great condition. While it is quite warm when the sun's out, it's dry, it's not bakingly hot, so it should be pretty quick. And there are some very, very fast women out there tomorrow.
Yes.
Are you going to try and keep with the lead pack, or are you going to chase, or are you just going to take it as it comes on the day?
No, listen, I mean, my PB for 100k is somewhere around 11 and a half, I think, hours, roughly. I'm hoping to take a fair chunk of that, but it's all about running your own race, I think. I know how quickly I feel I can run, and there's no point in me trying to chase off after someone that, other people that are running quicker. You just got to run your own race and hopefully come out feeling happy with it.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's going to be a really exciting day on the trails. I'm going to be covering mostly the 100-mile race because I can't be everywhere, but hopefully I'll get to see you on the way through a couple of the aid stations. Yeah. Thank you so much, Katie. Hope you have a fantastic race tomorrow.
Thanks.
And I look forward to seeing you out on the trails.
Cheers. Good to see you.